recently Bolivian President Luis Arce said that he wants to create a lithium OPEC to regulate and become an economic benefit he wants it to become an economic benefit to lithium producing nations similar to oil producing states. This comes on the heels of President AMLO calling for nationalization of the lithium in this country. What do you think is the West, particularly the U.S., response will be regarding this move?
Well, Elon Musk openly announced it on Twitter. He said, "We will coup whoever we want," and so I mean, this is Latin America, so U.S. quote unquote backyard, Monroe Doctrine and all that. We'll have to see. I mean, let's see. Let's. I mean, maybe U.S. But at this point, it's actually good time to test the U.S. hegemony because at current time, the U.S. empire has been overstretched, by the war in Ukraine, which it supports, and now they're trying to start a second front war in in Taiwan with China, right? Because it's not enough they challenge one nuclear power, Russia. They must take on two nuclear power, Russia and China, at the same time. That's a genius at Washington at work. That this.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, we're gonna pull a gun on these people who have also big guns, but we're not gonna pull it just on one guy. We're gonna do it on two guys.
Yes.
It's like, who's actually gonna win in that fight? And we know that the U.S. has a track record of infiltrating and causing coups and military interventions if they don't get their way, but will that be the same now that the global South knows the United States bag of geopolitical tricks?
I think it's good. It's going to be increasingly interesting because today Argentina just announced they're going to trade with China in the Chinese currency yuan. They're going to pay yuan for Chinese goods. So the U.S. empire stands on three legs, right? Military, technology, and financial. But ultimately, the U.S. military and its tech industry also depend on its financial leg. It's depending on the dollar hegemony. And this is because the deal United States worked out with Saudi Arabia back in 70s that to price the oil in dollars. So everybody have to get dollars to pay for their energy. And that made US dollars the world's reserve currency. And this is why the United States Federal Reserve Chairman Neil Kashkari would say, the Federal Reserve have infinite money supply. They can just print. They're not even. Today, they're not even limited by the forest, the supply of trees anymore, because it's all digital. They can just literally add a zero, type in a bunch of zeros, and then but people are wising up to that. Other countries are wising up to it. That's why I think the kind of what got the snowball rolling was the U.S. sanction on Russia, and when U.S. froze the Russian sovereign. The Russian reserve, that's Russian money, and they just decided, I'm sorry, it's in dollars, we hold the dollars, you're not gonna have it. And then the other countries saw that as like, holy crap, this could happen to us. Why are we holding dollars again? And that starts the ball rolling. Then you get, next thing you know, Brazil is going to China, say, hey, well, let's trade in our local currencies, yuan and peso. And, Argentina now is coming on board. And Saudi Arabia, the originator of petrodollar, says they're gonna work out a deal to trade in yuan with oil with China, and China is Saudi Arabia's biggest customer. So. Yeah, the ball is like I just made a tweet, like a snarky tweet, just before the show. I said, "Hey, look, U.S. empire is backed by its over bloated military, which is backed by its dollar, right? And right now, looks like the dollar hegemony is crumbling, right? We're on the last leg of the U.S. empire here. So this is also why our elite, our ruling class, are going crazy. You know, they want to like war all the time and everywhere, because they know their time is limited. Like, you have Marco Rubio openly said in front of the Capitol Hill, he said, you know, right now the whole world is de-dollarizing, that if we don't do anything now, in 5 years, we won't be able to sanction anybody because they will not be using US dollars. He just basically admitted to the reason why he just listed the reason why people are getting rid of their dollars, because he allow US this is the tyranny of dollars. So, you know, they can sanction anybody. Well, what if we just don't hold dollars? We hold other currencies.
In fact, while you're saying that, let's actually hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Oh yes.
Donald's mouth. Marco Rubio.
Little Marco.
Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them. Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest
you see how fast he's blinking his eyes? This guy's nervous.
He's in trouble.
Oh man,
Marco, blink twice if you're in trouble.
He's like,
I know.
Brazil, de-dollarization. Oh my God.
Cuba. No. I want to go back to my great granddad's plantation.
Oh man. Yeah, it's always good to laugh at these clowns. I mean, like, people always ask me, it's like, why, Carl? Why do you laugh so much? You distract from the message. I'm like, no, I have to laugh. This is like my self-defense mechanism. Like when we're ruled by crazies and other clowns, you have to laugh at their stupidity.
I fully am on board with laughing at neocons and war criminals. Clown them. Do that. Because that's the least we can do until we actually formulate a cohesive government that actually listens to the people so that we can actually put them on trial.
Yes. Guillotine.
Keep them sharp, baby. Keep them sharp. I have, man, I'm so glad I had you on. So there's another question that I have, and this is going on in the same vein. And as we see, BRICS is growing, and we see other nations joining. I reported a couple weeks back that Egypt is brushing up against the proverbial leg of BRICS to potentially become a member state. Saudi Arabia is becoming more friendly with China, and even French President Macron said that he doesn't want it to be, and I'm using my words, a lackey of the U.S. anymore. What move do you see from the international community, especially BRICS nations, and how they handle the U.S. potentially throwing a tantrum for losing their Western hegemony on the world stage?
I mean, people see the writing on the wall. I mean, Macron is a freaking poster boy of the neoliberalism in France. I mean, even he saw the writing on the wall that he has to go to China and say that Europe should not be a vassal to the United States, and that pissed off a lot of people. In the print, I was shocked. I was like, what's wrong with what he said? I mean, why should Europe be a vassal to the United States? And he actually said Europe should not get involved in the conflict over Taiwan for U.S. Exactly. What is it France or any European country's business what happened in Taiwan? It's like literally half world away from them. China posed no strategic threat to Europe. There's no dimension of even strategic competition. The most important relationship they have is trade. So why would they sabotage their trade with China for for the sake of United States. I mean, basically, Germany, they already got killed by the sanction over Russia that they're forced to do. Russia is their base for raw energy, cheap, reliable energy, and China is their big market. So I mean, they're going to commit economic suicide if, on top of the Russian sanctions, they're going to sanction China. Are you kidding me? They're sanctioning themselves. I mean, that's why all these German industrialists are now moving their factories from Germany to United States. And yet all the German bureaucrats, because they're so freaking, what's the word? Cucked. And they can't say no to United States. They're witnessing the self-destruction of EU. And this is why even freaking Macron said, okay, let's not do that. Let's not go crazy,
because let cooler heads prevail.
Yeah, exactly.
And then meanwhile, you have Germany going, they're like, wait, the United States just blew up our pipeline. What do we do? I don't know. What do you think we should do? I don't know. And so next thing you know, they're like, I guess we'll just die, I guess.
That's what German
hey man, you blew up a pipeline. What the hell's wrong with you? Instead, they acquiesce.
Yeah, I mean, most of the German leaders, the only reason they are where they're today is because they toe the line. Anytime all these so-called allies of United States that step out the line, they get smacked down. Henry Kissinger said, to be the friends of United States is dangerous, but to be its friend, to be the enemy of the United States is dangerous, but to be friends is fatal. And that's Henry Kissinger himself on the horse mouth. and this is what's happening right now. U.S. is literally cannibalizing its own so-called partners. They're all because U.S. still have abundant natural resources like natural gas. That's why all the German industries are coming to U.S. right now. This is why U.S. is full on board of supporting Ukraine war, because the war is happening in Europe on the European soil, and the European economy is getting devastated, and the European capital and industry are fleeing for safety to United States. This is a U.S. plan. U.S. plan right now is just blow up the rest of the world, so all the money will come back to United States. I mean, this is, and U.S. claim to be the champion for stability, but
Yeah, that's a really great point.